Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another Stig shift. Welcome to another adventure. And boy, oh boy, do we have a grand adventure ahead of us. Matter of fact, I can't even consider this as an episode. This is going to be a full-blown movie. Look at the timer. You're going to be watching this for the next 2 hours. Yes, this is probably going to be one of my longest videos I've ever made. This will comprise of about two and a half weeks of work. We're going to see the normal routine of aircraft maintenance as I always show to you guys. This month has been filled with a lot of special events. You're going to see 2 career days, one here at LAX and another one at Compton Airport. And towards the end of the video, me and you are going to go take a nice walk on runway 24 right. We're going to do a FOD walk on the runway. That's a very special event that Los Angeles World Airports puts together for only the employees of the airport. Well, without further ado, let the adventure begin. And let's see, where should we begin now? How about this? Let's do an engine breakdown. I haven't done one of those in quite some time. Let's do it on the CFM LEAP 1A. Now, I've done one in the past with the engine still hanging off the aircraft or on wing, but this time you're gonna get to see it off wing. Let's go. Welcome to the beautiful CFM LEAP 1A, equipped on the Airbus 321neo. Neo standing for new engine option. First thing you're going to notice is the beautiful design of the fan blades. 18 of them to be specific. These blades are considered a wide chord that are made out of 3D woven composite material. The shiny part in front is actually titanium. The black portion of it is primer and polyurethane coating. This protects the composite material. Behind the fan blades is where you get to the high bypass. This is where it splits off. Left, you see guide vanes. They are to optimize airflow that is going through the high bypass. To the right is what we call the booster stage. It also has inlet guide vanes, but this portion leads to the core of the engine, to the compressor section. As mentioned earlier, the engine is off wing. You're not going to see a nose cowling. You don't see fan cowlings. You're not going to see any thrust reversers. Cool about that is that it exposes the engine to more components that we can see. Components such as the mounts, the forward and aft, and a whole lot more. You'll see. Much like any other modern engine, this is a high bypass, dual rotor, axial flow, turbofan jet engine. It's also got some really fancy variable stator vanes that are in the core. We'll get to that, I'll show it to you. But overall, it's a single stage fan, a 3-stage booster, which is driven by a 7-stage low pressure turbine. The 10-stage high pressure compressor is ran by the 2-stage high pressure turbine. The high pressure and the low pressure stages are running on independent shafts, hence the dual shaft. Right between your high pressure compressor and high pressure turbine is where you're going to find your combustion chamber. That's where all the magic happens. Overall, it's simple. Suck, squeeze, bang, blow. I'm just joking. It's a lot more complicated than that, but I'm just trying to get you the basics of it. The last portion of this diagram that I want you to pay attention to is right below the fan case. It's called the accessory gearbox. This is where all of your components are attached. Components such as hydraulic pumps, fuel pumps, generators, the accessories. When the engine is running, it connects via shaft right behind that booster stage and goes down to the gearbox. This is how the gearbox turns. Also how you start the engine, because the starter is attached to the accessory gearbox. Starter turns the gearbox turns the shaft, turns the engine. Once the engine is up and running and operating, now it goes the opposite direction. Now the engine is turning the gearbox. I hope that made sense. That little pipe that you're seeing there, that is for the intake cowling anti-ice. This will take bleed air from the 7-stage high pressure compressor. We'll redirect this air into the nose cowling or intake cowling to prevent any kind of icing. Right above that, you got this little rectangular box. This is called a pressure subsystem box. What this little unit does is collect vital pressure data. To be more specific, it will take the pressure data, the analog data, and convert it into a digital signal and send it to the EEC, the electronic engine control. It will pull data such as compressor discharge pressure, air ambient pressure, compressor bleed pressure, fan inlet pressure, many other things. It will send it individually to both channel A and channel B system. And on top of that, it's got a rating plug. Rating plug is actually the interesting one. This is how you can uprate or derate the engine. That means more thrust or less thrust. Believe it or not, majority of the engines that come out of the manufacturers, whether it be CFM or Rolls-Royce or GE, are derated. You do not need the maximum capacity of thrust that the engine can produce. That will simply deteriorate the engine faster. What they do is find the sweet zone. The sweet zone is the maximum efficiency of that engine, not maximum thrust, maximum efficiency. Now, on a quick little side note, the CFM LEAP 1A is also going to be equipped on the brand new 321 XLR. And almost say for certain the thrust rating is going to be modified via that plug for that particular aircraft. Now, right above this little box is the EECs themselves. It's a split box, channel A and channel B. And I've talked about this many times before. It's basically the brains of the operation. We'll monitor and regulate every single component on this engine. Fun little fact for you, if you think the engine itself costs a lot, which the CFM LEAP 1A costs close to about $15 million, the components that surround this engine probably cost more than the engine itself. Those EECs are probably $500,000 each. Also, some additional information, these EECs get their power from a dedicated alternator that's attached to the gearbox. It's a redundancy feature. Let's say your aircraft loses all complete power. As long as your engines are turning, those EECs will get power and the engine will still run. The rest of it is just wiring that is carrying the data back and forth from the components and back to the EEC. Up next is something very familiar to you and you've seen many times where I service this. That's the oil tank. Lubrication for all the gearboxes, all the bearings, keeping the engine running nice and smooth. The tank is naturally pressurized when the engine begins to run. Usually maximum capacity of the tank is about 17.1 US quarts or 16.2 liters. But you know me, I gotta throw a couple of more tidbits for you in there. So when the engine is actually running, the oil quantity in the tank decreases due to gulping effect. So get this, maximum gulping effect at maximum takeoff power is 9 US quarts or 8.5 liters. Normal gulping effect with the engine at idle is 3.6 quarts or 3.4 liters. Okay, moving on. We're going to go around the engine mount and going to take a look at the core of the engine, and right behind the bypass, you're going to see these things that are taped up. Those are the VBVs, variable bleed valves. Now, the primary purpose of the VBV is to increase booster surge margin during engine steady state and transient operations. That is a very fancy and complicated way of saying I'm going to let air in or out of the high pressure compressor to make it more efficient. That's literally all it's there for. We'll let air in or let air out, making sure the compressor is functioning at its optimal performance. By the way, all of this is being controlled by the EEC. Regulating bleed pressure within the engine is very crucial. Not only are you dealing with the VBVs, now you're dealing with the VSVs, variable stator vanes, and TBV, transient bleed valve. The bleed valves don't end there. Everything is segregated with ATA chapter. Some of these bleed valves you're not going to find in ATA 75. To start digging into ATA 36. Pneumatics. I know it's a bit convoluted, but you need to bear with me on this. Just because it's attached to the engine does not mean it's part of the engine systems. What you're looking at here is the high pressure bleed valve, the HPV. This valve is going to work together with the PRV, the pressure regulating valve, and the IP valve. IP valve standing for the intermediate pressure check valve. You're going to see it here in a second. It's off to the right side of this particular valve. Right there, that's the IP valve. And right above it is the PRV valve, the pressure regulating valve that I told you about. So what is the point of all these bleed valves and all this plumbing? To simplify this, it's all about pressure regulation within the compressor section. All these valves are tapping into certain portions of the compressor. For example, 11th stage, 3rd stage, 8th stage. They are either keeping the pressure within the compressor or relieving it. They're also utilizing this pressure to let it go and go into the aircraft systems. For example, your air conditioning. That needs bleed air. It's pulling it off the engine. Your wing anti-ice. That's pulling it from the engine. Your water tank pressurization. Your hydraulic reservoir pressurization. Cargo heating. All of this is being utilized by bleed air from the engine. It's also a form of protection just in case you have too much pressure within the compressor or in case you have too much high temperature within the compressor. All consistently regulated by the EEC and the BMC computer, the bleed monitoring computer. Ladies and gentlemen, please bear with me because I am trying to simplify this. This is a lot more complicated than it looks. One thing I did forget to mention of the purpose of the transient bleed valve, which you're looking at right there, and the VSV actuators. The whole point behind these systems is once again to regulate the internal pressure within the compressor. It's in order to prevent any kind of compressor surge or stall. It's consistently modulating, opening and closing, optimizing the airflow within the core. Fuel flow and airflow work hand in hand. At the TBV, the VSV, and the VBV are all regulated by fuel control. Amount of fuel that's getting pushed into that engine is what regulates these valves. As you can see, all of these systems are working together in order to get the best performance out of this engine. And since we're on a topic of fuel, let's go take a look at the fuel nozzles themselves and the fuel manifold. Right there, those are the fuel nozzles and the pipes around it is the fuel manifold. This engine has 19 fuel nozzles. They are evenly distributed around the circumference of the engine and they are installed right by the combustor case. They have a primary and a secondary flow function and they're also capable of pushing fuel with a swirling effect. And if I remember correctly, I think these things were 3D printed. Also, they are a complete nightmare to remove and replace because the bolts always seize. But anyway, that's besides the case. Let's keep going. Up next, we're going to see the actual mounts. This is the forward mount plate. This is where the engine gets attached to the pylon. 4 bolts for the front, and you got 4 bolts for the back. On a side note, if you guys were actually wondering what a mount bolt looks like, it looks like this. They are big, massive bolts and nuts, obviously. There we go. Get this off. A lot of threads. By the way, this is a decommissioned mount bolt. This is no longer usable. It has stretched to beyond its capacity. It did not pass a torque test, but yes, this is a mount bolt. This particular one came off of a V2500 engine, but they're all pretty much the same. They look the same. They are a titanium alloy mount bolt. Yeah, very sturdy, and that's what's basically holding the engine onto the pylon. And the pylon also has its own mount bolts, and there's also shear points or shear bolts or pins within it. It's quite a complicated system and a safety prevention system, but yeah, that's your average old mount bolt. There you go. Just a reminder, there are some engines that do not have that many mount bolts, as I just showed you right now, where they have 4 up front, 4 in the back. Some actually have 5 up front, 4 in the back, and they're older model engines such as the JT8, which only have 3 mount bolts. Yeah, 2 up front, 1 in the back. But yeah, it is what it is. But hopefully this gives you a nice little representation of what a mount bolt looks like. All right, back to the video. Keep on rolling. Next thing you're gonna see is this little thing right there. That is an EGT probe, exhaust gas temperature. There are 8 of them on this particular engine. They run on dual channels, channel A and channel B. Description: measures exhaust gas temperature. Send that information back to the EEC, making sure that the engine is running in nominal temperatures. If it's not, it's going to adjust the fuel flow. At the same time, it's going to adjust all those fun valves that I talked about earlier. I hope you guys are starting to see a pattern within this engine or any engine that I talk about. Everything talks to everything. It's a living organism. For example, do you see these pretty little pipes? They're there for a reason. This is called an ACC system, active clearance control. There are 2 sets of these, for high pressure and low pressure. They are called HPT-ACC, LPT-ACC. High pressure turbine active clearance control, low pressure turbine active clearance control. The high pressure and the low pressure are both controlled by valves which are on the other side of the engine, which you will see in a second. As mentioned previous, high pressure and low pressure turbine sections spin at an incredibly high rate and also get to extreme temperatures. But you also have to remember they are enclosed within a case. Blade expansion is a thing. When those blades get super hot, they are going to expand. And if the case cannot compensate that expansion, guess what? It's going to damage the blade. Introduce to you the ACC system, active clearance control, expanding and contracting the case. And that is done by those pipes by pushing moderately colder or hotter air through those pipes to allow the case to expand or contract. Once again, all monitored by the EEC and the fuel systems. Thin wires that you're seeing, that's the fire protection. It's the fire loop system or the overheat detection. There's 3 systems on this one. One in the core, one in the pylon, and one inside the fan section, all monitoring any kind of overheat detection. If there was a fire, pilots will get the notification, they can put the fire out. As you can see, the ACC system wraps around the whole turbine section of the engine. And here are the valves that control them: the high pressure and the low pressure turbine active clearance control. To be specific, it's those valves that are stacked on top of each other, wrapped in silver. That's just insulation. As you can see with the ducting, the high pressure valve is on top because the ducting is going into the high pressure turbine. The one on the bottom is going to the low pressure turbine section. Here's a better visual look of the plumbing and where it's going. Up next, you have another bleed valve, and this time it's going to be on top of the left side of the engine, and it's going to be right there. This is the PRSOV valve, the pressure regulating shutoff valve. Once again, we jump ATA chapters. This one is for the anti-ice. Remember that little pipe I showed you earlier? That's where it's getting its air from. There's actually 2 of them. The other one is right in front of it. We keep on moving forward, and yes, I know I have still not shown the VSV actuator because it's very buried. There's two of them on either side of the engine. I will pause it and you will see it. It's going to be right below this red duct. It's going to be right there. There's going to be one at 3 o'clock and one at 9 o'clock. They are connected via linkage, and once again, they will modulate the case vanes, hence the name, variable stator vanes. Fuel pressure from the HMU, which is right below it, is what's regulating it, and as always, the EEC is monitoring it. Right next to it, this is the HMU, the hydromechanical unit. Let me rephrase, they actually call it something else. They call it the SCU SVA, Split Control Unit / Servo Valve Assembly. Its primary purpose is to modulate fuel to the combustion chamber and supply fuel to the actuators and all those fun valves I talked about. It works hand in hand with the FMU, the Fuel Metering Unit. That's going to be on the case. You'll see that as well. Moving back into the high bypass section, you're going to see these little grates. These are called engine surface air cooling oil coolers. These things cool the engine oil with secondary airflow that is coming off of the bypass. They are sharp as heck. Watch your hands when you're working on this. This big silver block that's attached to the accessory gearbox, that's going to be your main engine-driven fuel pump. We'll take the fuel from the wings, pressurize it, and send it to its respective components. Right below that is the TGB, the transfer gearbox, attached to the AGB, the accessory gearbox. Here, take a look at this. This is a better illustration. It'll give you an idea of the inner workings of the TGB and the AGB. And the shafts that connect to all these, they're all beveled gears. I know, guys, it's a lot of information here, but we're almost done with the engine. Just hang on just a little bit longer. I'll keep quiet for a little bit on the rest of the video, but we're almost done, so hang in there. I'll make the rest of this really quick because it's really simple components. Up next, the starter. Yes, it's an air starter. Takes the air from the APU, or if you want to cross-bleed from the other engine and start the engine. Is the hydraulic pump, engine-driven hydraulic pump, providing 3,000 PSI. The big black unit right there, that is your IDG, integrated drive generator, producing 115 volts AC and 400 hertz. It does use engine oil to cool itself and lubricate itself. Above that is the FMU, this thing, fuel metering unit. Properly meters how much fuel it needs to be distributed throughout the system. The counterpart for cooling oil is this thing, the fuel oil cooler. Does not intermix the fluids, just uses the cold fuel to cool down the oil. Also works in reverse. The hot oil heats up the cold fuel. I know I didn't talk about a lot of other components because if I did, we would spend literally a day talking about this. But those are the major ones. I hope you guys enjoyed this little segment, but we got to keep on going. The longer I talk, the longer this video is going to get. So come on, let's keep on going. Let's see. This thing doesn't need any oil. They must have serviced it in Dallas. That's where it came from. It came from Dallas. But it's going to go out to Heathrow. Oh, we're good here. We don't have to do anything. All right. Partner's going to do upstairs. Well, I'm going to do upstairs. My partner's doing downstairs today. I always find these. I've told you guys about these before. These are just little strips that sometimes pop up. Not a big deal. Let's see now. Yeah, this will do it. I used to be a dentist. No, I'm just joking. Come on down. There you go. There. Perfect. Now to the rest of the cabin. Open wide. Another thing I always find on the galley ovens, the screws. These always get unscrewed. It's alright. Just need to get it a little tightened up here. There. Here we go. Let's see. Everything looking good. All we're gonna do is actually just service a little bit of hydraulics. The right system is just a tad bit low. It needs to be 0.9 and above for ETOPS, but we'll get that taken care of. My partner's already on his way to get a hydraulic bowser. Yeah, otherwise we're good to go. Oh, you know what? We haven't done this in a while. The most important thing. Make sure the fidget spinner is working. All right. That's good. Good morning. Good morning. Let's go. We're in our favorite hiding spot. Let's go. Let's wake this one up. First flight of the day. Let's have some fun. Do a quick little right start. Make sure everything's good. All the big pieces are hanging. There's one long air conditioning hose. Yeah. Hello, anybody home? We got done with that 737. She went out just fine and on time. Next one was this beautiful Airbus 321. Now here's the really interesting part. Pay attention real close and see if you can catch what's missing. I'm going to show it to you anyway, but pay attention. It's going to be on the left wing. That means it's going to be on your right side. Pay attention and see if you can catch what is missing on that left wing. All right, this one just came in from, I think, DCA going out to MCO. Notice what's missing? Don't worry, it's allowed, it's allowed. All right, calm down before anybody has a heart attack. Let me explain. Component that you see that is missing, that is called a movable fairing. More specific, a flap track fairing. Next question is going to be, why is it missing? Because it got damaged at some point or another. This is part of a deferral program called CDL, Configuration Deviation List. This is completely legal. It is approved by the manufacturer. It is approved by the FAA. We can remove damaged components that are not flight safety issue. All that thing is just an aerodynamic cover for the flap track fairing. Obviously provides a little bit of protection. Here's the caveat. Something like this is placed on a deferral program. It has to be re-inspected every single flight. But there's also another stipulation. The aircraft will take penalties, such as fuel penalties. That is the movable fairing for the flap tracks. It is under CDL. It has been removed because it was damaged. We are going to go upstairs right now, or up there, and re-inspect it, make sure it doesn't need any more lubrication. But this is legal. Airplane will take fuel penalties though. All right, let's go to the rest of the walk around and then we'll go up there and look at it. Every single type of aircraft have a very certain criteria for the penalties. This is an Airbus 321, but it's not a Neo model. The penalty for this one is going to be an increase in minimum takeoff fuel by 2.9%. A weight penalty is also going to be added by about 3,500 pounds. You also have to adjust the takeoff limit weight by the TPAS. They also have to adjust the landing limit weights. Once again, particular to this aircraft, weight limit reduction will happen about 3,200 pounds of runway limited takeoff weight, climb limited takeoff weight, runway limited landing weight, and climb limited landing weight. It is allowable per CDL configuration deviation list to remove one of these, but airplane will take a fuel penalty and a few other penalties. But yeah, otherwise just to do a visual reinspection, make sure linkages and rods and bonding straps and grounding points are all secure, nothing is damaged. Making sure also it's got enough grease, which this one has plenty of grease. I don't need to re-lubricate this. Well, maybe I might. I might give it a couple of shots of lube. Some Aeroshell 33. But yeah, just overall a general visual inspection, making sure everything's okay, everything is secure. But yeah, cotter pins, everything is good. Yeah, all is well. This is normal, guys. It happens all the time. When the airplane is gonna go to overnight and stay overnight somewhere, they will get a brand new movable fairing, or canoe. We call them canoes, and they'll just install. These are super easy to install. Yeah. That's your flap track fairing, and this is your flap. There you go. Pretty cool, huh? Everything's looking good. Don't worry, that's supposed to wiggle like that. That's normal. Yeah, let me get a grease gun and I'll lube this up a bit. Not a big deal, just a bit. And I'll clean off the excess. It just looks funky, especially if you're sitting out there and looking over here. All right, that's as clean as it's gonna get. And they got some Aeroshell 33, and then they're gonna re-lubricate and reapply to all these surfaces so the rollers can go nice and smooth. Yeah, like I said, not a biggie. And that's it, all lubed up, nice and clean. Nice fresh grease on there. Good to fly. All right, on to the next one. If you're local to Los Angeles, I'm sure you've seen the news. Terminal 5 is no longer available. Terminal is going to be demolished and a brand new terminal is going to be built. The project is expected to be lasting about 2 years. From what I've heard, Terminal 5 and the section of Terminal 4 that is missing is all going to be rebuilt in time for the Olympics. We will not be seeing any airplanes here for quite some time. All of our flights that come into Terminal 5 are now being repositioned to international. It is a huge inconvenience to the passengers, but it is what it is. My carrier is not the only one being affected by this. JetBlue has moved to Terminal 1. Spirit has moved to the new MSC terminal. So it's going to take a moment to readjust everybody and all our flying public. But hopefully within the 2-year span, everything will be nice and new and spick and span. We will get our terminal back, and majority of it is going to be my carrier that's going to be occupying this one. But once again, 2 years. I'll keep you guys updated on the progress and the demolishment and the rebuilding of this terminal as a progression goes on, I guess. But for me, no more Terminal 5. Now I'm going to be strictly working at Terminal 4 as well as Tibbet, which is Tom Bradley International. Good morning once again. You can guess what flight this is. All right, well actually this one stayed overnight, but it is going out to Tokyo in the morning, well around 10 o'clock, so we only have to get the partial on this one done. Do a walk around cargos. My partner's upstairs. He's gonna run the hydraulics for me. I'll do a quick walk around, make sure there's no leaks, no damage. The usual. Quick little side note, this actually turned into a full-blown ETOPS because they changed the plans and we had to do the complete ETOPS on this particular airplane, and it went out this very same day. Pretty bright. You guys want to hear something funny? This is hilarious. I had a comment the other day saying, "Hey Stig, you can't be showing how to open and close doors." I'm like, really? I'm like, why? I'm like, well, safety and security. I'm like, The instructions are literally written on the door. If you know how to read English, then you can open this door. It's not rocket science. Quick little inspection. If you're wondering what these little red dots are, or blobs, these are patches. The floorboards are composite, the composite floorboards, so sometimes they do get damaged time to time because of cargo, obviously, and you can patch them up. Not a big deal, but yeah. You want to see a mouse trap? Watch this. Snap your fingers off. All right, there we go. Logbook is done. ETOPS is done. Another successful airplane. Yep. Now we just hang out and wait, just in case we get a gate call. I've shown you guys this many times before. It's the heads-up display, and it works off of a projector system. The projector is right above the captain's head. The captain and the first officer both have this function on the 787. I think I remember somebody asking, which I've shown before, but why not? Somebody wanted to see the oxygen mask. So this is for the captain. The FO has one as well, right over there. Observers have them as well. But let's pull this one out so you guys can see what it actually looks like. Simply pull out. Right there. Press the two buttons right here, the red ones. It will inflate. And then you don the mask or put it on, release it, and it just basically wraps around your head. Pretty cool, huh? Put this back and I'll show you how to test it. Okay, that's back in. Close that cover, like so. Press the test once. That's to re-engage it because we took it out. And The second one is to actually test it. That's it. Mask also has 3 modes: emergency, 100%, and normal. Emergency is full-blown air. It's forced air. 100% oxygen. 100% is on demand. Only when you breathe in, it will give you 100% oxygen. Normal is diluted oxygen. It's half ambient air and half pure oxygen. These are really nice seats. But you know what? I think, in my personal opinion, I think the best seat in the house is not all the way up front there or here. I think the best seat in the house is actually row 6. Definitely row 6. Why? Because you get the best view of the engine and the wing. Just like that. Yeah, that's a pretty cool view right there. Definitely. But I'll never sit here. My place is over there, back at the bus. And I'm sure you guys seen the other videos I put out for our new 787-9P models. Those are even much nicer. I mean, this view is not bad either. That's pretty cool. You can see the big wing flexing up and down. Looks like it's all been catered. It's ready to go. Another successful ETOPS check. The beautiful plastic princess, our 787, went out on time. The rest of the day was very uneventful. Nothing really happened. And the last flight that I worked on was a 737, and all I had to do is basically oil it. After that, it's going to be the next day, which is going to be our first career day. We are going to be repositioning a 777 to the other side of the airport, which is going to be lots of fun, crossing runways under escort by our LAX operations team. So stick around, more to come. Let's go. Welcome, good morning everybody, good morning. And today we have quite an event. Let's go. First things first, we got to move this airplane. This is a beautiful 777 that just came in from Sydney, and we are repositioning it. They haven't finished cleaning, but they will. We're repositioning this beauty to Imperial side. Today is career day at LAWA, or LAX, Los Angeles World Airports. So we're gonna set this beautiful 777 up for all our guests. Gonna open up an engine for them, but first we got to cross 2 runways way out there. All right, we'll get this all set up. It's gonna be a fun day, a busy day too. Whew. All right, let's go. And most importantly, make sure the fidget spinner is working. Since you guys asked from the last video, you guys enjoyed that overhead panel view and the overhead panel explanation. And a lot of you asked, do it on the 777. Sure, why not? Let's do it again. But I'm going to simplify this one a lot more because there's lots of similarities on these 2 airplanes. Some of the push buttons and panels are identical. So if you want to go watch the 787 video, feel free to do that and then come back here and catch up on the rest of it. What I'll do here is give you some of the differences on it. And yes, I plan on doing this for the Airbus and the 737s. Just give me some time on that. I'm not going to waste your time on the light panel because it's identical to the 787. You're also going to see the same pattern of switches of off, auto, and on. Majority of the time, pilots will leave everything on automatic. For example, the passenger signs, they will leave them on automatic. Same exact thing for the anti-ice panel. Wing anti-ice and engine anti-ice will be on automatic. From our previous discussion, I think you understand what anti-ice systems are for now. Same goes for the windshield wipers. Now, I know you guys are very attentive to details, and somebody is going to ask, what is that black dot right next to the seatbelt knob? That is the flight deck microphone. This is what picks up and sends the recording to the CVR. Here's a fun one, the camera light switch. Now, cameras on 777s are an option. On our 777-300, which this is, there are cameras, which I've talked about before. 2 cameras on either side of the horizontal stabilizer, and there's 1 camera on the belly. These cameras are there to assist for taxi operations, helping the pilots knowing that they're on a center line. Here you go. This is what the pilot sees when they have the camera function on and it's on their display screen. They can see left and right main gear and wing and the nose gear. As for where the actual lights are to illuminate this portion of it, well, there's 3 of them. There's 1 on each wing fairing, the canoes, and there's 1 on a nose gear right here. It's on a left and right fixed fairing, the leading edge portion of it, and it's right below the nose gear door. It simply illuminates a little bit of light so they can see better. I can guarantee you, if you watched any of my older videos, your eyes would have caught those things. But in any case, that's what they're there for. That's what the switch is for. Up next, we move on to the electrical panel, which is very similar once again to the 787, but there's slight differences. From bottom to top, once again, you have guarded switches for the manual disconnect of the IDG. Right above that, you have the electrical disconnect. Now, much like the 787, the 777 also has 2 generators, but it's configured a little bit differently. Since the 787 is an electrical start, it's utilizing VFSGs, variable frequency starter generators. The 777, on the other hand, is a conventional aircraft and uses pneumatic systems to start the engine. So the generators, the IDGs, are conventional. It just produces electrical power. But they still have a backup generator, which is the switches in the middle that you see. Another difference you're going to see is that this aircraft only has 2 power ports, unlike the 787 that has 3 power ports. When we're talking about power ports, I'm talking about external power, GPU, ground power units. The 777 is a much more forgiving aircraft. Even though it's very highly sophisticated, very electronic, but it's still one of those nuts and bolts type of airplane. I've told you this before, the 777 is a tank in the sky. It is the best and the very last best Boeing product ever built. I will die on this hill believing in that. Feel free to prove me wrong in the comments. All right, let's keep going. The rest of the upper panel is very self-explanatory. Left and right bus tie, APU generator. You can take it online or take it offline. IFE, in-flight entertainment, cabin utility, same thing just like the 787. Galley equipment and cabin power. The battery switch controls both. Controls the main ship battery and the APU battery. And then you got the APU start switch. Now here's the fun part. You see that switch to the bottom left that says thrust ASYM comp? Thrust Asymmetric Compensation. Now this is a very interesting feature. Thrust Asymmetric Compensation, better known as TAC, helps control the airplane during asymmetric engine thrust conditions. The TAC function receives thrust data from the 2 engines from the Engine Data Interface Unit, the EDIU. It is particularly looking at the N1 rotation speed. taking the information from the EEC as always, calculating the thrust values, and then it sends the proper amount of thrust to the engine that is lacking. The system is also looking at the PCUs that control the rudder, the power control units. Lots of fancy words, right? I'm going to simplify it. Let's say you're coming in on a landing and you have crosswinds and you're trying to maneuver the aircraft. Aircraft computer system is looking at the PCUs, it's looking at the thrust capacity on both engines. In order to get that airplane lined up straight or however the pilot wants it, the computer will do it automatically when the push button is pushed in. As always, everything is on automatic on these airplanes. But pilots, let's say if it fails, they can take it offline and then physically adjust the thrust quadrant however they want and compensate for the asymmetric angle of the aircraft. By the way, I have never seen that switch fail or that system fail. The guarded switch that says primary flight computers onto the right of it says automatic and disconnect. Once again, you can disconnect the primary flight computers. You're going to go into direct mode of flying. No more safety barrier. You are literally flying that airplane at that point. The computers are not going to help you. Way up above, you have the broadband comm switch. That's basically your Wi-Fi. You can turn it off or on. Let's go on to a very interesting question somebody asked me. Why does the 777 has only one Adderoo switch and the 787 has two Adderoo switches? The complicated answer to this is the infrastructure of the database of the 777 and the 787. The 777 running on a much complex system called the ARINC 629, and the 787 utilizing more fiber optic material and utilizing 429. By the way, I'm just scratching the surface on those databases. The database meaning behind this is how it communicates with itself, how the computers talk to each other. With the 777, you have a centralized network. Everything talks to everything. That's your 629. Now, with the other systems like 429, you have point-to-point contact. One computer talking to another computer talking to another computer. Everything is still talking to each other, but it's not localized or centralized like the 777 does. Do I have you confused enough? Good. At least you don't have to do this for a living. The reason the 777 has one push button for its Adderoo system is because it is tapping into a primary system and a secondary system. It's all built into one box. Your Adderoo, which is your Air Data Inertial Reference Unit, and its secondary Attitude Air Data Reference Unit, which is called the SARU. If one portion of that box fails, the secondary portion will take over. It's because it's running on a singular data network, which notably is called the Fault Tolerance Unit. Within this unit, you have multiple gyroscopes and accelerometers. The thing is, the redundancy is still there. It's just simplified and more into a automated management system. Why have multiple buttons or switches where you could just have one? Now for the 787, because it's a different architecture and a different system, they went back to traditional ways of putting in two Adderoo switches, left and right. But trust me, they all do the same thing. You compare that to an Airbus, they have three. So that's a whole different generation of airplane. Okay, real quick, top to bottom, ELT, emergency locator transmitter. Settings on, armed, and reset. Emergency lights, again, very self-explanatory, off, armed, and on. Service interphone, passenger oxygen, that's to deploy the rubber jungle. You know, all the masks in the back. And window heat, just like the 787. Welcome to hydraulics. 777 has an immense amount of hydraulic systems and pumps. 9 to be specific. Let's count them together. Left and right engine-driven pumps. Left and right electric pumps. Center, 2 electric pumps. Center, 2 air-driven pumps. And your favorite, the rat. The engineer that designed the hydraulic system on the 777 must have been a crazy person. But you know what? I love that person for that. To throw this level of redundancy at an airplane is absolutely mind-boggling. When they designed this airplane, they basically threw everything and the kitchen sink at it. And it's still flying to this day. That's how cool this airplane is. And yes, every one of these systems can produce 3,000 psi of pressure. I would love to break down what every single one of these systems does, left, right, and center, but you know what? I don't have the time. Here's a nice diagram. Feel free to pause and ask questions later on. Have fun. Fuel system is exactly the same. The only difference between the 777 and the 787 is you do not have the balance switch. The engine switches and the EEC switches, as well as the T-handle for the fire handle of the APU, is the same way. Same thing for the cargo fire protection system. Also the same thing exactly for the pressurization system and the air conditioning. Only thing it's missing is the humidity system that the 777 does not have. To be honest with you, the rest of it is completely the same. This is why I don't need to go into much detail. The only difference is the overhead panel. You still got physical circuit breakers on the 777. The 787 no longer has circuit breakers within the flight deck. It's all digital. All right, let's go. Here we go. We're moving now. We've got our LAX operations that's going to be escorting us across both of the runways. This is going to be crossing runway, the 25 runways, both of them. And we're going to go across and go to the Imperial side where the museum is. And then we're going to set this airplane up for this beautiful career day. This is going to be great.
Audio 306 ramp with information Juliet taxi.
Hello, 201, calling on the ground, ready for taxi, second.
Scott, Skywest at 630, Charlie 6.
Skywest 5630 on the ground, information Juliet's current runway 24 left, exit right turn Charlie, north route.
Charlie, north route 24 left, please get at Juliet, Skywest 630.
And 306, Juliet, Embraer out of the alleyway and then go in.
Actual gate's going to be occupied for about 9 minutes. You need us to hold someone?
And 306, roger, continue, Bravo, Charlie 3, Charlie short of Charlie 4.
Okay, Bravo, Charlie 3, Charlie short of Charlie 4, 306.
Skywest 257, Charlie, monitor tower.
Monitor tower.
Background for United 761, confirm you want to taxi via Bravo, Charlie 1, Charlie, and hold 4, Charlie 3.
United 1006, yes, Charlie 1, Charlie short of Charlie 3.
Charlie 1, Charlie, hold short, Charlie 3, United 106.
507, monitor tower 120.95.
Tower 285, City on 507.
Ground Skywest 497152 India with Juliet looking for push.
Skywest 4971, it is Juliet's current pushback, your discretion.
Pushback your discretion with Juliet, Skywest 4971.
Skywest 4971, runway 25 right.
25 right, Skywest 4971.
United 74 heavy on Charlie 3 till 28.
That's a Charlie 3 second.
United 74 heavy. To the gate.
United 74 heavy, LA ground, proceed via Charlie to parking.
Total parking, United 74 heavy. Thank you.
That was 4971. Our ramp crew was asking for a spot number. Do you have one?
Go with 4971. Push back with your tail to the east and the alley there.
Right tail east of the alley, south 4971. Thank you.
Skywest 4951, checkpoint 2, parking gate, 15 call.
Taxi by Bravo, Charlie 4, Charlie to the box.
Bravo 4, Bravo, Charlie to the box, Skywest 4951.
Go 4951, left turn Bravo, Charlie 4, Charlie.
Left turn of Bravo, Charlie 4, Charlie, Skywest 4951.
Take 1 ground, American 31, Charlie 9 with Juliet, Charlie now.
Charlie 9, call sign.
American 31.
American 31, LA ground, is formation Juliet, pushback. That was 4951, and Juliet, give it a frontier.
Activate, give way to frontier, Skywest 4951.
Ground, that was 3515, cross the 25 right at Juliet.
Yeah, that's 53, correction, 3515 on the ground. That's left turn Charlie north route.
Left turn Charlie to the north route, Charlie. Taxi by Charlie 3 Bravo.
Right, Charlie 3 Bravo. 2828.
Sentinel aircraft, ATIS information, India is... Sentinel aircraft, ATIS information, Juliet is current, LA altimeter 29er at 96.
Hey, ground Skywest 4971, information Juliet in the box, ready for taxi.
Skywest 4971, LA ground, runway 25 right, taxi by Charlie, Charlie 5 Bravo.
25 right, Charlie, Charlie 5, Bravo, Skywest 4971.
CS 507 LA ground, proceed by off the parking. Skywest 4971 at Bravo, give way to an Embraer.
At Bravo, we'll give way to an Embraer, Skywest 4971.
American 2828, monitor sir.
American 2828.
American 31, ready taxi.
American 31, 8 is Juliet, runway 24 left, taxi by Charlie North route.
Charlie north route 24 left, American 31.
American 31 at Juliet, give way to Delta.
At Juliet, give way to Delta, American 31. Take ground, 2337, just clear off in the runway on Juliet.
So 2337 LA ground, taxi by left turn Charlie North route.
Charlie north route, Delta 2337. United 357, clear of Bravo 17 of 25 right marking 81.
And 357 LA ground, taxi by Bravo, hold short Charlie 6.
Bravo short Charlie 69 360.
Skywest 4971, monitor tower.
Monitor tower, Skywest 4971.
Compton 4951, Charlie 4, we just need approval under the ramp.
Skywest 4951 is with me today. Continue to the ramp.
Continue the ramp, Skywest 4951.
Morning ground, Major League 1 with Juliet. Coming out of Atlantic.
Look at Atlantic, verify the call sign.
That's Major League 1.
And here we are. All right. Let the fun begin. Looks like a lot of people showed up. A lot of nice booths. Got some catering as well. So let's get the engines opened up. Get everything ready for all our guests. Should be a great day. All right. We'll also open the windows. Get some air going, flowing through. It's gonna be a hot day. All right. Let's go. Okay, latches opened up. Let's crack it open. For you guys, you're gonna see all the insides. We're gonna crack open the core cowling, so you'll see the insides of the engine. No problem.
Yeah, I love your videos. They're super entertaining.
Thank you, my friend. Appreciate that. All right, all the latches undone. All the latches down here. Everything undone. All these released. Now, the TRs. Open sesame. There, locked into place. Same thing for the other side. Oh yeah, there's your GE90. 115B. It was a tremendous event. Everybody showed up. United was there. They brought their beautiful 757. I know people like to call it the pencil of the sky, but I call it the Ferrari of the sky. This brought me fond memories when I used to work on the 757 back in my old days. And luckily enough, the person that was actually in charge, the maintenance technician, was a colleague of mine. So we sat there, we chatted over some things, maintenance stuff. It was fantastic. This is why I say the community is a very small community. We all know each other. But in any case, this is the beautiful RB211 right here, the modified version, obviously, for the 757. Still a beauty, still a workhorse, a powerhouse. I love this engine. If you look at it closely, you'll actually understand that it resembles pretty much every single other Rolls-Royce engine, as well as the V2500 engine. All of these modern Rolls-Royce engines that you see today are a derivative of the RB211. That was the birth of the Rolls-Royce engine family. Delta also brought their beautiful A350-900 over here. I got to go walk around outside of it and enjoy the landing gear as well as the engine, but I did not get a chance to go upstairs because the crowds were getting busy and I did not want to interrupt our guests that were attending this event. I'm just a mechanic. The event is for the guests. That was as much as I was able to capture within this event because the whole other time we were standing underneath that engine and people were coming through, we were explaining how things work and people were getting fascinated. So, it's a very encouraging and a very wonderful event to open people's eyes on how things work and open their eyes on different career opportunities. Once again, we do this as a voluntary thing. For us, it's the passion of aviation. We love what we do so much that we want to give back to the community, give back to the world, and teach them what we do. But in any case, we gotta go back to work. Once again, oiling airplanes. Let's go. And we're back to work. Let's go. 787 just came in from Tokyo. I'm gonna give it a little bit of oil. Had a long journey. Probably is gonna take 5, maybe 6 pints. All right, do that. And then we got a 777 later coming up. Heathrow flight. That's it for the schedule today. Pretty light. All right, all oiled up, ready to go. Well, it's gonna stay here for a bit. Then it's gonna go. Let's go upstairs and put this in the logbook. That's a pretty day. Oh yeah, by the way, happy Halloween. Today's Halloween. And here we are, back in our beautiful plastic Princess. Just finished the logbook, put the oils that I just serviced. Those parameters are normal because, as always, it's not aligned. And we're looking for, engine oil is right there. We're good. I'm happy with it. Now, this goes back to the hangar and we hurry up and wait for the 777. Okay, on to the next one. Oh man, I was just walking by. I think this is the cutest thing I've ever seen in my life. Look at this little wadder. That is tiny. What the heck? That is funny. That is a funny little ladder. Little ladder. All right, let's get back to work. This 787 was scheduled to get off the gate and move to the hangar and be worked on because they had a check on it and as well as some maintenance items. But the guys from the hangar came up. They wanted to get a little bit of a head start on it, so they started working on it. They said, hey, can we use your lift to go up to check the APU for physical oils, because this was going to be a periodic check. So that's exactly what we did. I basically just helped out. I gave them the lift, and we went up. We used some tools, and here is the APU for the 787. And these are the two massive generators that produce the electricity for the power of the 787. So much more space when there's no ducting, right? No plumbing. All just the straight engine. That's about it.
Yeah, I was thinking like this APU change would not be that bad.
No, it'll be super easy.
It's very easy.
There's literally nothing here. Like,
yeah.
super duper easy. Only 3 hoist points anyway. Huh. Oh yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah. Looking good, looking good. Nice and healthy, brakes and tires. Plenty of life on them. Don't worry, that's not leaks, that's just a bunch of condensation. Oh yeah, looking all right. Do the rest of the walk around, then go inside. Okay, here we go. We got a small couple of items. Not a big deal. A litter show pocket, a light bulb that's out. Not a big deal. Let's go through the important things. Let's go to the parameters. Let's look at the status page. Woo! O2's right at the limit too. 1350 is exactly where I want it to be. Might need to service up the right hydraulic system. Just a tad. I'll just top them all off too. But otherwise, we're looking nice. Perfect. Generators and backup generators are good. And we'll check 210, 10, 2. Oh, we got to service some tires as well. Alrighty, we got our work cut out. Looks familiar? Yeah, because it is. I told you guys this before. Sometimes the job is rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. You're doing the same things over and over again, but you never know what you can encounter on the line station. Sometimes it's the same stuff all the time. Sometimes it's something new. Yeah, once again, servicing hydraulics is just part of the job. And we are all done. That's it. Everything's serviced up. Good to go. Pilots will probably be here in a second. Flight attendants are already here. Easy. Good to go. Another healthy, happy airplane. Welcome to our second special event and our second career day. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Today's gonna be a fantastic day. We're here at Compton Airport and we're gonna have a beautiful event. Got some beautiful airplanes set up over here. This should be great. And our booth is down over there. But we'll get a chance to walk around over here, and it'll be nice festivities. So if you're in the area of Compton Airport, definitely stop by. It'll be a fun event. So this is an R1340 engine. I believe they call it the Wasp. There's a very special tradition within this engine, the penny. So back in the 1930s, the technicians that were actually building these engines or manufacturing or overhauling them decided to put a penny because it fit perfectly within this little area. The penny designates when the engine was manufactured or when it gets overhauled. They will pick the penny of that exact same year and put it in there and safety wire it in there. It's a beautiful tradition, and if you run across a 1340 engine, pay attention and you will see the penny yourself.
Yeah. What you guys think? It looks good. Okay.
If this looks like a rerun to you, because it might be, because I partook in this particular event last year as well. This is a very special event and it's very dear to my heart. The reason for that is because, once again, opening eyes of young adults to the careers and the opportunities within aviation sector. Allowing them to see that not only can you be a pilot or a flight attendant, you can also go into aerospace, you can go into, not only fixed wing, but also rotor wing maintenance, as well as rotor wing pilots. You can go into becoming aerospace engineers. There are endless opportunities for people in the aerospace industry. We were there as representatives of my own carrier, as with the pilot group for their cadet academy, and we were asked to be there as maintenance technician to represent our side of work, the tech ops portion. Boeing was there as well, United was there, Delta was there, everybody was there. Everybody is there to contribute and inspire young minds to do better in their life. That is the whole goal. That's cool. The event was starting. I had to head back to my booth, which you're going to see right here, because we had guests coming. And then afterwards, we're going to go check out the rest of the airplanes and the helicopters in the background. It was really nice. And here you go. We now had a nice little setup. I brought my engine blade and one of my engine models. Everybody loved it. Believe it or not, this thing is still sitting here, and this thing is made of all out of wood. And this is an actual concept of a real helicopter. Well, a prototype helicopter. I think it was called the Penetrator. The goofiest name in the world. But anyway, I'll be quiet. We're going to go walk around. You're going to see some airplanes and some helicopters. I'm just going to be quiet and let you guys enjoy the visuals. That's about it. Feel free to chime in and name the helicopters, and feel free to name the particular engines that you see or any of the models. Like, feel free, enjoy, like, have fun with it. But I'll stop talking. I think you've heard my voice enough. Okay, sorry, I gotta interrupt. Get to the chopper! I have to do it. I had to do it. I'm sorry. You know, when you see a Huey, you gotta do it. I think at this point that you have realized that I'm a big man child and I like to touch everything like a toddler. Point example A. Yes, it's hanging low enough so I can touch it. Yes, I am going to touch it. Please don't judge me. And yes, there is an aeronautical museum over here at this airport. I highly encourage, if you can come visit, go check it out. It's beautiful. They even have a nose section of a DC-3 sitting over there somewhere. I saw it, but I didn't capture it on film. But knowing me and my obsessive compulsive behavior, I need to clean this off because I want to read everything. And there you go. Pratt Whitney, J57. I'm simply going to just walk around these engines and pretend like I know what I'm looking at. And then we're going to go back to the event because I'm just taking a break right now because my co-workers are still at the booth. We're taking turns on speaking to the guests. So I took a little break, came around over here to show you some of the engines and the airplanes that are sitting around over here. But then once again, I have to go back and partake with the event. That's so cool. No, guys, it's just a model airplane. Well, not model, you know. RC airplane.
Compton, what's going on? How y'all doing today? Compton, what's going on? How are y'all doing this morning? Coming out participating in this event. You know, aerospace, aeronautics, the future is unlimited. The technology out there is like to participate. You know, we need to encourage our kids to aerospace and what have you. Manufacturer, but encourage our kids to be capture with the space on Mars. Because they are
Okay, this is as much as I was able to capture on this event, and this was a beautiful FedEx bird that came in. I caught as much as I could, then I had to go back to the booth, and then it was over for me. The other shift, or the other mechanics took over, and then I had to go home because I have another shift coming up the next day. But it's not over yet. You're going to see something really cool. The other shift, the technicians that took over, got a very special ride on one of the old classic birds. They actually got to ride in the back of it. It's colleagues of mine that are riding in the back and colleagues of mine that are taking the footage. I wasn't there at the point because I had already gone home. Enjoy the glory of classic aviation. Big shout out to my friends at Compton Airport, the maintainers. A big shout out to my friend Alex, who was in the back seat actually riding in that airplane. But yeah, we got to get back to work. Here comes another Airbus 321neo. As always, we got to get back to work. Airplanes got to keep flying. We got to keep fixing. I shall spare your ears from the brake fans. What we are doing is a standard ETOPS check, what you have seen me do a million times before. This airplane is going to OGG, Hawaii. So once again, we perform the ETOPS check the tire pressures, check the engine oils, check the emergency generators, check the IDGs, do all the preliminary checks that I've talked about a million times before to you. The usual GVI, general visual inspection, making sure everything is tip-top, making sure our souls on board are safe to go on a long journey. Once again, I'm going to sound like a broken record. I keep repeating this over and over again, but I want you to understand, we take pride into our work. We put our friends and families on these airplanes. We want to make sure everything is perfect before you leave. That's just what we do. That's our job. We get paid for this, but not only that, we love what we do. It's a very profound and meaningful job, but it's also a job that is hidden. It's tucked away into the shadows. Nobody will see an aircraft maintenance technician unless something is broken, and that's where, we get the bad notion. Oh, something is broken, that means you didn't do it right. No, sometimes airplanes just break. You guys need to understand that. But we're there to fix it. We try to make it right. We try to get you out on time. Unfortunately, sometimes it doesn't work that way. Well, fortunately on this airplane, it did work out that way, and it did go out on time, and people went out and got to their vacation trip in Hawaii just fine. Okay, I just need a record of the APU hours and oil levels, but the oil levels will get checked physically as well. And we got to do a GCU test. My partner's downstairs. He's going to give me a signal. Test okay? Yep. Give me a thumbs up from downstairs. Print that out as well for the record.
Don't forget your donuts.
I won't. Oxygen, good. Hydraulics, good. Engine oils, very good. Kid. Quick little view from the catering truck. I always like doing this. If you heard that earlier, yes, you heard exactly correct. The flight attendant said, "Don't forget the donuts." And yeah, I won't, because she was so kind. Oh my goodness. I am always courteous to my flight attendants. They are one of the most wonderful people in the world. Some of the most hardest working people in the world. And she was kind enough to leave me a box of donuts. And yes, I partook and took it back down to the shop. I treat my flight attendants with utmost respect. They are incredible people. Most people undermine them because they don't really understand how much training that it goes down to becoming a flight attendant. Do you realize that a flight attendant is a emergency service worker, a firefighter? They are there to get you out of the airplane. They understand some of the systems of the airplane. A flight attendant is not just there to serve you drinks. They are there to save your life. They're also there to assist mechanics, to tell us what is wrong within the airplane for safety reasons, so we can fix it. Anyway, I'm ranting. All I gotta say is, thank you, flight attendants. Thank you for the donuts. That special young lady, I hope you see this video. Thank you for the donuts. The whole shop appreciated it, and I definitely appreciated it. Much appreciation to you. Also, this is a nice little preview of what I'm going to be talking in a future video of going over all the buttons on the Airbus family. We'll get to that when I get to that, but here's a nice little representation of it. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Now you can ask yourself, Stig, what are you doing out here in a parking lot outside of the airport? Well, today's a very special event. Today we get to go walk on a runway. The FOD walk. They're gonna close down the runway 24 right, and we're gonna go take a nice little stroll. And have fun. Fun little fact. This building right here that you see, this actually has a historical value. Well, in aviation anyway. It used to be actually the offices of Los Angeles World Airports and their administration, but even before that, this used to be the Flying Tigers administration department office, because that hangar used to be the FedEx hangar, which is now being decommissioned and is going to get shut down. But yeah, even before that, this was the Flying Tigers. Come on, we're going to go check it out. It's going to be a fun day. Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you made it this far to the video, thank you so much. I appreciate you, because you have withstood a lot of me talking and a lot of nonsense. I hope you guys enjoyed it. But this is the end portion of it, which I promised from the beginning. And from the beginning, I told you we're going to be walking on a runway. And this is it. Los Angeles World Airports hosts an event once a year at LAX that employees that hold employee badges that are capable of getting onto the airport are capable of partaking with this event, and we get to go out and walk the runway that they closed down, which is, once again, runway 24 right. And this is a very special event. This is my third year doing this, and I tell you what, it never gets old. It's absolutely amazing. Walking down a runway is one of the most exhilarating feelings in the world. And mind you, which I will mention once again throughout the video, the side runway 24 left is still active. That is an active runway. Airplanes are still taking off and landing, which you're going to see a lot of footage of. But the majority of the rest of the video is going to be just me walking and looking at the runway. And I hope you guys enjoy it. I'll comment here and there once in a while, but otherwise, that's about it. Enjoy. Welcome to runway 24 right. This is going to be fun. Here we go. Walk around and look for some FOD. Little bug. I don't think I can find anything in the middle of the runway. It's actually super clean. Let's go off to the side. Maybe we can find something here. Obviously, we're not going to pick up rocks. I am so sorry for the crackling bag. That's my FOD bag. That's what I put the garbage into. But yeah, I'm sorry. I can't get rid of that. That's attached to my hip. You like our fake grass? No, it's okay. We got real grass too. These are just rocks. That's the whole, I mean, yeah, we'll pick them up anyway. There's only so many rocks you can pick up though. I doubt they're worried about rocks. What they're really worried about is like any kind of metallic items. Oh, pieces of airplane. I'm just joking. Or maybe I'm not. You can go off-road. By the way, there's wildlife out here. There are snakes and rabbits and coyotes and, well, what? You name it. Rats. Or not rats. Field mice. That's what they call them. And there's wildlife out here. One of the marker signs. I think this designates 4,000 feet. Taxiway uniform, that way. You'll see it. Well, we're slowly coming to the end of the runway. Right there's the staging area where the buses will pick us up and take us back. But yeah, I love doing this. It's my 3rd year doing this. And it never gets old. It's always fun. Unfortunately, not much to, well, fortunately, it is a good thing. Not much to clean, it's a good thing, as it should be. But the fact that they allow us to get this opportunity, I love it. I absolutely love it. It's a beautiful feeling. These things look freshly painted too. What a beautiful day. I can't believe I took this much footage. I think I have about 2 hours worth of footage just walking down a runway, and it would be insane of me just to post that because ain't nobody in their right mind would want to watch me walking down a runway for 2 hours. No, we're not going to do that. But this is the end of the road. This is the end of 2-4 right or 6 left, however you want to look at it. All I got to say is this has been a heck of a video, a heck of an adventure, a movie in itself, and you're a part of it now. If you made it past this much and you watched this much, I appreciate you. That's it, guys. I'm tired. My voice is tired. I gotta get some rest. Appreciate you all for watching. Stig, signing out. See you on the next adventure. Later.